now that I'm on the road moving here, it is what, January 27th, I think, something like that. And I want to talk about some riding I did the other day. I didn't get any video of it. It was a good ride, but it also wasn't a bad ride. Oh, okay. It wasn't a good ride, but it also wasn't a bad ride. It was a mediocre ride. But Red Rock Harley Davidson, the dealership that I bought this bike from, has a thing that they do every year called the Riders Challenge. And the first ride that they did was on Saturday. And I completed that ride and whatever. And I got to thinking, I'm going to start doing those and maybe doing some more vlogging like this on them or whatever. But also I'm using them to kind of gear up for a bigger ride. Now, I've talked about this in other videos I've done, when I talked about this, in my live stream and stuff, how I really want to go to Rooster Teeth Expo, RTX, which is down in Austin, Texas. And I want to ride my motorcycle there. And it's roughly 1,300 miles to go there from here. So, kind of thinking about it and everything. I thought I'd take this opportunity, this vlog here in January, to talk about my journey into prepping for that trip. Now, RTX is normally in July. I won't be going unless something massive happens. I just get a big lottery win or something like that, which I don't play the lottery and I don't gamble, even though I live in Vegas. Unless I get some big win like that or whatever, I'm probably not going to go to RTX this year. I started a new job, I bought a new bike, I gotta kind of, get more financially stabilized before I can do a big convention like that. And RTX is going to cost me around, I always forget there's that big bump right there. It cost me, close to $2,000 to go. I think when I tried going a couple years ago, is that 2 years ago, my estimated expenses were going to be like $1,300, and that's not including, that was a large chunk of that was just the hotel room. That's not including like food and souvenirs and gas. And I think overall it was looking in, with gas and everything, it was close to, well, it was close to $1,400 to go. So I want to be able to go and have at least $2,000 in the bank to cover, hotel room, gas to get there, food while I'm there, any souvenirs that I want to buy, anything like that. So I'm going to be doing the Riders Challenge this year, though, instead of doing that. And the whole idea is, they're progressively longer and harder rides. The first like 3 rides are all like an hour and a half. They're all about 100 miles or less, one way. So about 3 hours round trip. But then they get longer and longer and longer until the last one in September is like 6 hours, 6.5 hours one way. So that's a 2-day trip. That one I'm going to talk about more when we get there. But I actually want to take this vlog here and kind of, I'm saying, hey, I'm going to be setting up for this. I'm going to be practicing, feeling out how the bike is, how I feel, what I need to change on the bike, what the bike can do, what the bike can't do. Do I need to change the seat and all that? But I thought I'd also take this time to kind of tell the story of my attempts to go to RTX, because it's funny. It's funny and annoying. So, when RTX first was announced, it was like a limited time event sale. They only wanted like 100 people to go, and they inadvertently sold like 500 and some odd tickets. Obviously, I didn't go to that one. But I thought, oh, well, that's cool. If they ever do one again, because I used to listen to the podcasts all the time, and I still do. So if they ever do one again, I definitely want to go. I hear police sirens. Where are they? I don't see them. That's right there. Okay. So I definitely want to go. So the second RTX, I knew I wasn't going to go to that one. I just didn't have the money for it. The third RTX, I believe I had a friend on the Rooster Teeth community site. She went to that one, and that's where I got the idea of how much it cost. I knew, she told me it cost her and her boyfriend, I think, or maybe her friend, I'm not sure. She said it cost them around $2,000 for both of them to go, and that included a rental car. And I said, well, I'm not going to be renting a car, so I'm not going to worry about that. The fourth RTX is the one where I actually started looking at, I started crunching numbers. I'm like, can I go? How much is it going to cost me if I wanted to go? And at the time I was working, a part-time job, minimum wage. No way in hell I was going to afford to go, so I didn't get to go. By the time I believe it was the fifth RTX that came around, maybe it was the fourth or fifth, I don't exactly remember what order they were all in, but it was like the fourth or fifth one. I talked to my girlfriend at the time, and they were on the podcast. They've been talking about the tickets going on sale soon, so I was like, okay, I know how much it's going to cost me. I know how much I'm making. At this time I was working 2 jobs. I was like, I know how much it's going to cost me. I know how much I have to save, each paycheck to be able to afford to go. And I'm like, it's doable. It's absolutely doable. I could have the money to go. But she wasn't comfortable, because she had just moved in with me. She wasn't comfortable just me going, and she didn't want to go. So, and she didn't drive or anything, so we decided that we would wait until it was a little closer, when tickets actually went on sale, how she felt. Because we had this conversation like in December or something like that. And come like March, I had most of them. I had a good chunk of money set aside to go. Like enough that I could buy my ticket, enough that I could, pay for the gas to drive there, because I was going to drive, dumbly enough, from Michigan. Come on, run me over. Anyways, I was going to drive from Michigan there in a beat-up old pickup truck that wouldn't be able to make that trip. And I, ended up that spring. I think it was like April, March, or whatever. Quitting my part-time job that I had, because I was just fed up with being treated like absolute dog shit there, for lack of better terms. And the other job I had laid me off, so I really didn't have an opportunity to go to RTX that year. So then I spent the next 2 years out of work, moving between Michigan and Vegas here. Big hole. And finally, like October, this is like 2017, 2016, 2015. I don't remember what year it was. I'd have to actually like look at my calendar or something. I got a new car, I got a job, I got a car, got all that. I'm like, sweet, I can afford to go to RTX next year. And I was all ready to go. And my girlfriend at the time, same one I'd been living with for a while, she's like, well, let's go to this convention in Reno first. And I said, okay, we'll go to the convention in Reno, and then when we come back, every penny I get that doesn't go towards, you know, groceries and gas and food is going to be set aside for RTX. Well, 2 days before we go to Reno, she breaks up with me. So all the money I had saved up to go to Reno and had started to save up to go to RTX that year went into me moving out and finding a new place to live. So that sucked. And then the next couple of years I just spent in a position where financially I could not afford to go to RTX. Flash forward to 3 years ago. 3 years ago, yeah, that seems about right. I was living with my friend at the time, and we'll call him Tom. Tom's wife had a friend. Her name, we'll call her Kelsey. Kelsey had made a card game that was supposed to help you learn a foreign language. Learn how to read and write in this foreign language. Tom had gotten a job working for her on the weekends, once a month, going to different conventions, you know, anime conventions, video game conventions, all that kind of stuff. Stuff where she could sell that game. And he would work the booth. Him and like 2 or 3 other people would work the booth at these conventions. Well, Kelsey had apparently had either back surgery or hurt her back, or something was wrong with her back, and Tom and I had to go over to her apartment and move a whole bunch of furniture for her because she needed the furniture moved, and she couldn't do it with her back being injured. So Tom and I go over there, and we're moving everything, and we're having a good old time. We're just talking, you know, talking shit, whatever, and we're all done, and Kelsey and Tom sit down, and I sit there. We're on the dining room table or whatever, and they're talking about the upcoming conventions that they're going to go to this year. And they mentioned like PAX Australia, and you know, all these, including RTX. And I sit there and say, Kelsey, I'm not asking you to pay for me to go. I will buy my own ticket. I will pay for the gas in my car. But if you let me stay in the hotel or the Airbnb, whatever it is that Tom is staying in, I will drive Tom and I plus a trunk full of your boxes of your game to RTX. And she said, that sounds like a good idea. I want to see how all these other conventions go throughout the year before we consider that. But I'll get you a vendor's badge, and you can get in and help with setup and everything. That's all, you know, just help, you know, set up and tear down if you want to stay in the hotel. And I'm like, that's 100% doable. So we're waiting. I'm like, okay, well, this was like December, January. We had this conversation, and I wait until I don't press the issue. I'm just waiting until, you know, I get more news. Tom goes to a couple conventions and everything's going really well. And he's like, yeah, it sounds like we're gonna be good, agreeing to go to RTX. Well, then he ends up going to PAX Australia. And it was just Tom who went to PAX Australia for this thing, for one reason or the other. And boy, how did that not go well. Apparently, they lost more money sending him to PAX Australia, and I don't know all the details. I don't know if it was just him not doing his job. I don't know if it was just they had poor sales. I don't know. But apparently they ended up losing like $15,000 or 14 or 12 or some ridiculous amount. It was more money than they had made all year up to that. And of course, Tom ended up losing that job. They no longer did any conventions after that. I don't know if they've gone back since then, because I don't talk to Tom anymore. I don't talk to Kelsey anymore. At least not Kelsey. Let's go ahead and change lanes, because it's getting ridiculous. But they stopped doing conventions, so I missed out on going to RTX that year, and I was really bummed out about it. Yeah, that was 4 years ago, because no, that was 5 years ago. 3 years ago, I started my job at Harley-Davidson. So 3 years ago, I started my job at Harley-Davidson, and I'm making more money. I've got a motorcycle at this point, and I'm like, I can totally ride my motorcycle there. It only cost me to ride this bike there, or even my other motorcycle. It's only like $200 round trip. Yeah, super cheap. It's cheaper than flying if I wanted to ride. Anyways, so I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, I could totally ride my motorcycle to RTX. And I start doing the math and figuring out how much money it would cost me, and I ended up buying a new car, so that ate into some of the money that it would have cost, or some of the money that I would have used and saved up to go to RTX. But I end up eventually getting to the point where I'm like, I know how much money I'm making. I get a pay raise, get my taxes, all this. I'm like, I'm gonna go. So RTX 2020, it's 2019. RTX 2020 tickets go on sale, and I buy them. I finally have RTX tickets. Like, I bought them, and I'm super excited. I booked my hotel. Like, I'm going to RTX. When I was at work at the time, and when everything got finalized, like all my tickets and hotel room got booked and all that, I ran a lap around the building. I was so excited. And then COVID hit. And COVID basically, obviously, y'all know it shut down conventions for 2020. But I obviously didn't go to RTX 2020. And I was really upset. I was angry. And I was, and understandably so. I'd been trying to go to this convention for so long. And I finally have everything in place to go, and pandemic. So then they do RTX from home, but because I work weekends, it was really hard for me to really log in and do any of the streaming stuff and be part of it. And I wasn't feeling it, so I didn't really participate there. And they did RTX at home again for 2021 for last year. Oh, and that was all right, whatever. Well, some of you might know that in September my motorcycle got stolen, my little Yamaha. And I got the insurance payout for that, and I had the money sitting there, and I'm listening to the podcast, and they're talking about how they're going to do RTX in person. They were hinting the RTX was going to be in person again. And I had that money sitting in my pocket, and I thought, I can use this money to go to RTX, or I can buy a motorcycle. I can buy another motorcycle. Obviously, I bought another motorcycle, which I don't regret doing. But that leads us to RTX 2022 this year. And as I said earlier, I started a new job. I don't know if I'm going to have enough paid time off or vacation time come July to go. So I'm just going to sit there and say it sucks, but I'm gonna sit this RTX out again. But I'm doing it knowing full well that RTX 2023 I'm going. If they have it in person, I'm going. If they do it from home, I'm going to take time off. I'm going to take some vacation time and just sit and watch the streams all day. But I'm 100% going to RTX, and unless like I break my leg or get into an accident or get fired from my job or whatever, I'm 100% going to it. And I'm going to use this year in the Red Rock Rider Challenge to basically train myself, get myself ready for that ride. Now, I've done long rides before. I rode for 4 or 5 years before getting this bike. And I'm at a point where I know this bike well enough that I can do long rides on it. But, you know, I want to be able to throw my backpack and my duffel bag on there and know that, yes, it's going to sit there and it's going to be alright. Really have this bike dialed in for road trips come summer 2023. And so that's where I'm at with road tripping on this thing. Got a couple of friends who just bought bikes. We're all gonna go on road trips this summer. I've got the GoPro, obviously. I'm gonna be doing vlogs and stuff, maybe some live streaming while riding. We're gonna go down one more exit. We'll just kind of see how the year plays out, you know? Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I know it's kind of long, I know it was kind of rambly. There's a train right there. I'm gonna try and do some more motorcycle live streams on Friday nights, like just on my ride home or whatever. And just kind of feel out how vlogging with this setup is working for me. But yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one.